Alright, let's watch this video. What is the best Warhammer 40k faction army to start with? Also a video by Bricky.
I must say the support on my prior Warhammer video has been, to put it lightly, absolutely outstanding.
And this one's from 4 years ago.
That well, maybe 3 to 4 years, and it's also a breath of fresh air to be able to make a video on something on a whim on Warhammer, a while very popular game, not a game that I ever really made videos on, and to have it perform as well as it does. You know, YouTube and the YouTube world doesn't like change very much, so it is incredibly heartwarming.
Yeah.
But with that, it also
I'm glad those videos did well. Yeah. This video is from 4 years ago. So I guess the timeline one we saw was more recent than one we just watched. Yeah, so I think space dwarves are not going to be in this video just because this is from 4 years ago. Yeah. There might be some other stuff that's outdated. Let me know. Bricky also talks about his tourney experience. Oh, I want to watch a video. What is it called? I want to know what the tourneys are like. I saw he had a video on the world's biggest Warhammer event. Is that what it is? All right.
Also came with a question that was always being asked to me ever since making that video. Hey Bricky, what army should I play?
Yeah,
so
what
for
army?
this, my next major Warhammer video, I'm going to answer that question. I'm going to go over all the different kinds of armies just like we went with the main video, except instead of lore, we're going to be going through the different various ways of collecting the army, as in not only price-wise, but how many models you're going to need, how new or old the model scopes are, and we're going to be going over the play styles of each army respectively. Are they melee? Are they shooting? Are they a little bit of both?
I want to know.
Elite armies with only 20 models on the battlefield, or horde armies with 120 models on the battlefield? We're going to be discussing all of those, what each army is about, and give you at least a decent run through of every single faction to allow you to make the conscious and intelligent choice on which army you want to play if you want to get into the tabletop of Warhammer 40,000. But first, before we start, I need to show you something. So I own an absolute boatload of wall art all across my...
Yeah, I was about to ask, is this his house? Please note this video came out during the 9th edition. Right, we're on the 10th edition now. Yeah, so there's stuff in there that doesn't apply to the 10th edition. Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, this is from 4 years ago. Yeah. Bricky has been blown away by basically being the gateway for VTubers to get into 40k. Something he wasn't going for or expected. So funny, yeah. I have been sucked in as well. Oh, Age of Sigmar is a sequel to Warhammer Fantasy. Gotcha. We're honestly only a year away from the 11th edition. Wow. We're zooming. Oh, they usually go at a 3-year cycle? Gotcha.
My house I received from cons, and so when I was contacted by Displate to sponsor this video, it was like an immediate yes. Anyway, I wanted to show you the ones I got because Displate is the sponsor for this video. The first one is a wonderful one from the Coen brothers, No Country for Old Men. This is probably my favorite movie of all time because I am a messed up human being and I like the dark, depressing shit. However, this one, I love it.
Warhammer!
It's very simplistic and it shows off the simplistic poster art that I tend to enjoy a lot. Now, past that, I actually got one for my mother because she
Bricky's
is
a black hole.
Huge Stephen King fan. So I got this
My mom is too.
Pennywise one.
She loves Stephen King.
And the third one I got actually was from fellow YouTuber Vtuber. You may know him. He did Dark Souls content and, well, From Software content in general.
Oh,
and
the metal posters?
I can't show you it right now because I got the extra large version.
Oh, no wonder they look super thick. They're literally metal. Oh, okay. Metal posters with magnets for on the wall. Oh, that sounds really nice. They're kind of pricey, but I hear they're good quality. Okay. Yeah, I've never heard this before. Metal posters, damn.
Because I wanted the big one of his. It is a absolute, like, gorgeous piece. It is just as nice looking in real life as I expected.
I have several. They're great. Nice.
After I ordered 3 separate displays,
I need more wall art, to be honest.
I immediately received 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra ones and then change. And I kind of start realizing why they wanted a Warhammer video so much. Orks.
Orks.
Gotta have orcs.
Oh my god.
Sisters of battle.
It made a sound when he tapped it. It made the metal sound. One's like thunk. Actually, I am so lazy to put up wall art just because I don't want to frame it. I don't want to do the thing where I have to put nails on my wall and put it up. So like the fact that you could just like use magnets sounds really nice.
We'll be talking plenty about them today. Angels of Death in all their glory. More Angels of Death in
Angels
all
of
their glory.
Death.
And a Drukhari, I don't know what this is. Is it an Archon? It might be an Archon. I don't play Drukhari, but obviously Dark Eldar. I need the spikes. I get the spikes. I love the fact that you can just slap it onto your wall with a magnet with no fuss. And
That's
especially for someone who was renting a place, and I know a lot of you have had those experiences with landlords where you try to hang up wall art, you put a nail into the wall, and they're like, oh, ooh, is that a 2mm hole I see right there? That's $300 out of your security deposit.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
So thank you very much, Display, for sponsoring this video. I would highly recommend checking them out. They make absolutely fantastic stuff. So check them out. They're in the description.
Do they got
and
anime
let us
posters?
Continue with the video,
Gonna have to
starting
check.
off with a couple terminology you should learn before we actually get super deep into it.
I'm a
First things
weeb.
first, there's a thing called Forge World. Forge World is actually a lore thing with the Adeptus Mechanicus.
Warhammer
However,
time.
what it is actually a partner to Games Workshop. Forge World makes these kind of custom minis that aren't in the codexes specifically. However, you can use them and field them in your games. They're just generally expensive, kind of a little bit weirder. They're a little bit more bizarre, and sometimes like fan-made creations.
I'm
and
so
such,
excited. I
but
love seeing this
Forge
stuff.
World is like a side company of Games Workshop that makes 40K. I might mention them a few
They
times.
look so
I wanted to go
cool.
ahead and tell you about that. They're not used a ton, but they are
What?
fun
They're
and
so expensive. Holy shit. I'm just looking at them. $325.
Might mention them a few times. I wanted to go ahead and tell you about that. They're not used a ton, but
How
they
big
are
are
something
they?
you can use. Next, I want to tell you about hitting numbers. So if I ever say something like, oh, this army hits on
Sheesh.
3s or 4s or 5s, what I'm saying is if they hit on 3s, that means if you roll a d6 and you throw it out there, if you get a 3, 4, 5, or 6, anything 3 or higher, then you hit your shot. You've landed onto your target. If I say they hit on 4s, it's 4 and up, 5s, 5 and up, etc. And finally, we have things called stratagems. I'm going to mention those a few times. Stratagems are like special abilities you can use after having a pool of command points that you get for building your army, and you can kind of dole those out, these special abilities,
Money time.
stratagems, as you wish. You ever played Command and Conquer, Red Alert 3,
FW
or
models are
perhaps,
mad
Kane's
overpriced?
Wrath? My personal favorite was
Gotcha.
always Kane's Wrath. You know those little abilities on the side of the map? It's like those. Let's start off with the #1 best army you should collect for a new player. Space Marines.
Space
Before we get into
Marines!
tactics,
I think when I was looking at like the introductory Warhammer sets by I think Games Workshop, I think they had a set with Space Marines and Tyrannids. I think I was eyeing that one just because it like comes with paints and stuff, which I was like, okay, that's nice. You know, it's like a all-in-one sort of, and I don't think you need glue either. Yeah. And the price point wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Yeah, so I was eyeing that one.
before we get into how they play, I want to remind you all of the most important rule, the golden rule of collecting Warhammer. You will always have a better time with the army whose lore you like and design you prefer. Always buy the army you think are the coolest. If you like undead,
That's so true. I 100% like agree with that for gunpla as well. Like I buy what you think looks cool to you. Yeah. There's no better answer, you know? You do need glue. Oh, do you need the glue for the starter set too? I thought that one didn't need it, but maybe it does. I don't know. Push fit honestly still works best with glue. Oh, gotcha.
Egyptian space robots that have enslaved gods as weapons. Buy the damn Necrons. I don't care if Necrons are S tier or F tier, buy the damn Necrons, okay? If you love Viking aesthetic and you love Space Marines, get the damn Space Wolves. I don't care if they're S tier or F tier, get the army that you love the lore and the design of first. Nothing sucks more than playing a meta army that some people might not even want to play you against because you're going super power gamer and having to paint and create an army that you don't like. Play the army you think is the coolest. Golden rule.
Yeah. You need to take playstyle into account too if you intend on playing the game. Honestly, though, I feel like that could follow though. Like I feel like if you like something, you'll be passionate enough to learn how it works. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, obviously there's like exceptions, but since you already do gunpla, you probably already have Tamiya plastic cement, which is great for Warhammer minis. I actually don't have that. For gunpla, I don't do any customs. Well, so far, like, I don't do any. So, you know, I just cut them up and put them together. So I don't really have any of the other, like, stuff that you can use on custom. Yeah, so far I've only done vanilla gunpla building. Yeah.
Okay, Space Marines. So the poster boys of
Gunpla doesn't need
Warhammer are our
glue,
first faction today, and
for
I
the most
know
part.
when I said that the best army to collect all the new players are like, oh god, not the Space Marines, the generic ones, and all the veteran players are going to say, oh god, not more Space Marine players I got to deal with, and the tournament players are already ready to hire a hitman to kill me. But I'm sorry.
Are they the most common?
Agree, Space Marines are. Whew, right now, but they really are the best army. If you are a new player, Space Marines are your best bet. They are the
They even have games. Yeah, there's a Space Marines game, so I'm guessing they're really popular.
best army to collect if you are a new player, and let me tell you why. Number one, Space Marines got all the lore. They got a monopoly on lore. They easily have the most fleshed out backgrounds of any of the characters or factions in Warhammer. Space Marines have the most books. Space Marines are a huge part of the Horus Heresy.
No wonder they're the poster
Space Marines
boys.
will always have the most, and they have the most depth to them. Number two, Space Marines are very easy to paint, especially for new players. When you get Space Marines, you have a ton of variety of chapters, and they all have a ton variety of colors. And they're also pretty easy. Space Marines are also very large, or at least larger than normal, so their canvas size is much bigger. Smooth.
I really want to try painting minis. Me too. I do as well. Yeah, these do look fun to paint, and you could like pick what colors you put on them as well. eBay can be your friend with Warhammer. Oh, eBay is the best secondhand reseller. Do they not like jack up the prices or anything? Like, can you trust the prices you see? I guess you still have to do your own research, but yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I associate with eBay. I guess just because I come from other hobbies, I associate eBay with like people like unnecessarily like jacking up prices like crazy. Yeah.
Or at least larger than normal, so their canvas size is much bigger. Smooth armor, much easier to paint,
smooth
especially
armor.
their vehicles. And the paint schemes are easy. Ultramarines, blue, White Scar, white, Imperial Fist, yellow, Salamanders, green. It's extremely easy to paint Space Marines. And for a new player, I would highly recommend them for that specific part, because the painting and building is a massive part of this hobby. Number three.
Oh, eBay can jack up prices for rare kits, but it's also where folks sell entire pre-owned armies in bulk for decent prices. Oh, eBay's only bad if it's a brand new release that scalpers bought en masse for big bucks. Gotcha. I guess that makes sense. Sisters of Battle are a pain in the ass to paint, and they're not even the worst. No, I like Sisters of Battle though. I like how their figurines look. Oh, that sucks that they're pain to paint, but I guess that makes sense. I guess maybe it's because of their shape too. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a lot of details.
Marines are always getting new models. They are always getting equal attention from Games Workshop. Even if they have just been updated, they will get updated again and again and again. And the Harlequins and Dark Eldar players are crying in a corner, but we don't care about them because I got a new Primaris Lieutenant and he's got a skull shield. I don't know. They're always getting new models, and while it might be a little excessive at times, they will always be updated, and your rules will always be changing, and therefore it keeps it very fresh if you're interested in playing them. Number four, you have...
Yeah, bibbity boppity, your breathing is now a manual activity. That's crazy. Warning, it's tricky to paint white and yellow and get it to look good. Oh, it takes a fair amount of practice and effort. Gotcha. Oh my god, I think I'm gonna suck at painting. But you know, everything's a learning process. A lot of people love salamanders. They might actually get their own specific miniatures soon. Oh, they don't already have their specific miniatures? I didn't know.
A vast amount of data sheets and units at your disposal. See, in a codex, you have a part after all the lore of it, after some of the keywords and art pieces and stuff, you have the data sheet section where it goes over all of your units and what they do and their stats and everything, their special rules and so on. And when you get to that spot, however many units an army has depends on, well, you know, how many pages of data sheets is it. Take the Adeptus Custodes. They have a very small amount of units, and their standard codex of data sheets is only 11 pages long. Sisters of Battle, however, a little more medium force. They have 19 pages of data sheets. The Imperial Guard, they have a much, much larger amount of data sheets because they're such a large army. They have 39 pages
That's crazy.
of data sheets.
Is it harder to play the more data sheets there are? Or not necessarily? It's just because, like, I'm like, that's a lot of reading. Yeah. Salamanders has one very old character model, and that's it. They don't have their own special detachments or units beyond that, unfortunately. No, but I like the salamanders. What am I supposed to do then? Do I just get the old ones, maybe? I don't know if they're even available. Oh, data sheets means you have a lot more units to choose from. Oh, it depends. More sheets are more options, but also a chance for more good and bad units. It's so much decision making. So many options to pick from. But I have like choice paralysis. Is that what it's called? I don't know. Like, the more choices I'm presented, the harder time I have picking. Gives you a lot of variety, but you can build easy lists to play with a lot of the same units. It's actually better. More to choose from. Okay. Yeah, it's a lot more reading and memorization. It do be like that sometimes.
Space Marines?
How much does Space Marines have?
56.
Damn!
56 pages of data sheets for different kinds of units. It's a little bloated at times because of the amount of characters and stuff, but still, they are all over the place. Their variety is endless, and it is being even more updated and added as time goes on. Which brings me to number 5, and the most important of them all. Space Marines use every phase of the game. See, in Warhammer, there are phases in each turn.
Yeah, I want to learn about this.
We're just getting to 9th edition, so we're getting something called the command phase soon, which is fine. But then we have the movement phase, psychic phase, shooting phase, the charge, fight, and then morale phase. Now, the last 3 are kind of all packed into one, if I'm being perfectly honest. But the main thing is that a lot of armies might utilize some of these phases a lot more often.
This looks so fun.
Grey Knights are very big in the psychic phase because they're all psychers, and so they really have a lot there. While Tau don't have any psychers, and they won't even use that phase, but they've got really damn good shooting. However, they don't have any melee, so they're not going to be using the charge phase. Whereas, say, Slanesh Demons will use the charge and psychic phase plenty, but they won't be doing any shooting of like any kind, pretty much. The Marines, they will
psychic phase doesn't exist anymore, by the way. 10th edition took that away. Oh, they have cut down on them in the 10th, unfortunately. Oh, okay, so now it's less. I guess it makes gameplay faster, maybe? 10th edition has cut a couple phases. Gotcha.
Use every single phase, and you can't get good at the game and get good at the phases unless you're able to use all of them. And that's where Space Marines really shine. You can play them however you want in any kind of role. See, if you are running, let's say, an Iron Hands or Imperial Fist army, these are both shooting-based armies. But you can still have good melee. Where if you wanted to play a more melee-based army like Space Wolves or Blood Angels, you'd still have good shooting units. You could still do plenty in the shooting phase. That's the most important part. Space Marines will use every single phase, and they are very, very good at it. So that is the main 5 reasons why you should be playing, or at least you should try collecting Space Marines. And I know I don't need more Space Marines in tournaments, but it is the best decision. They're good to paint, they're good to collect, they're always getting updated, they got tons of units, they use every phase, and you can tailor them however you'd like. Plus, and this is kind of down the line, but eventually after playing them enough, you might understand which army you'd want to collect second. If you start collecting a little bit of Space Marines, you start realizing, oh wow, I really think I'd prefer having more models on the table, or I wish I had tougher models. Then you can go for Tyrannids or then Adeptus Custodians. It helps you figure out your second army a lot better. If you're a new player, you want to get interested in it, just do this. Go online, get yourself either, or check eBay because there's tons of offhand Marine stuff on eBay. Get yourself a pack of Intercessors or maybe a tactical squad. I'd say Intercessors because they're more modern, they're newer and more meta, and they're bigger for better paint canvases. Put them together with some glue, get some paint on them, try them out, and try getting into the game that way. I think it'd be a pretty smart and a pretty solid idea to get someone new into the hobby. And Space Marines just really are one of the better choices right now. Okay, whew. Now
Still need to paint though.
Sucking as much Marine dick as your brain, let's move on to the rest of the armies. And my personal favorite army at the current moment, the Imperial Guard or the Militares.
Yeah, it's so hard to remember the kind of the Latin-esque names. Paint is another can of worms. Best brand for the money is Army Painter. Okay. for the recommendations. If you have spare money, there's also painting service out there doing the job for you. Oh, that could be nice if you want to like commission something really nice. Airbrushes help a lot. Oh, okay. Yeah. I will say don't feel pressured to get expensive paint. I use Walmart paints and they do just fine. That is so valid, you know? Whatever works. And sometimes, you know, you got to work on that budget. Yeah. You can make anything work. You don't need to jump into a hobby and get all expensive stuff. It's so true. And it's probably better not to if you're just starting out as well. These are good tips.
The Imperial Guard. The Imperial Guard are my main army. They are what is known as a gunline horde army. Whereas
play
Orks
something
and
else.
Tyrannids have a horde army that has shooting but it's more melee based, the Guard is going to be running 60 to 100 infantrymen, support walkers, artillery batteries, aircraft, drops.
They've got tanks. Okay, another thing though, to be honest, I'm also very interested in the Orks, you know? They go unga bunga. I'm interested in how they play as well. Yeah, so maybe them too. I don't know. They seem fun. And when they hit hard, right? You just gotta get lucky so that they hit. For fun, and you can build Orks out of pretty much any box. Yeah, I'm interested to see what he says about the Orks.
Troops, tanks.
I might be leaning towards them as well.
The Guard is all about just blistering firepower. Now, however, the downside to this is that the Guard, while well-trained, are only 4-up well-trained. They hit on 4s, and they also do not have very good survivability. Guard stuff tends to be rather fragile. They very rarely have any special saves to keep them from taking any damage. Most of their stratagems aren't based around survivability, but in fact more firepower. Guard don't shoot amazing with their 4-up accuracy, but they make up for that with just sheer amounts of numbers of shots. I don't care if my tank hits on 4s when I've got fucking 3 of them. If the Marines are like the pristine Swiss Army knife where they can do anything and they have a little tool for every situation, Guard are like a Swiss Army knife that's about 10 times as big and attached to a big wooden stick that you just beat the shit out of people with. Your units are squishy.
I like imagining that.
Great, but you've got so many of them that you just take people out by drowning them in gunfire. As for collecting,
Orks are a lot of models, so can be tiresome to build. Oh, maybe they'd be best played in tabletop sim where you don't need to build the models. Orks can be a bit expensive for playing since you need many of them, but they're pretty painless to paint since the skin doesn't need to look realistic to look good. Oh, well, someone on Twitch says, Shika says, Orks are very easy to play but a bit difficult to paint. Differing opinions. Oh, I guess it really depends on how you want it to be painted. Tried looking for unpainted Space Marines and all the ones I'm finding seem already painted. Really? I saw some Space Marines kits on Amazon though, I think, when I was browsing. A bad Ork paint job is just lore accurate. Yeah, we can just say it's lore accurate.
The Guard, it's a little bit of a mixed bag.
Start collecting.
Their models are a bit older than I'd like. I personally think that they could use a decent amount of updates. They do get updated plenty rules-wise, but since they've got so many different kinds of units and so many Forge World options, a lot of them are a bit old and are showing their age. As for collecting them in the money side, they're pretty expensive. You're going for a Horde army, so you're going to have tons of models on the playing field. That being said, I still do love them. I love their lore and their design. I love the large swaths of infantry, and I personally think they are pretty fun, if maybe not the greatest army as a main army. The Adeptus Mechanicus.
Depends on the standard you want to paint them to. Game ready is easy. Competition grade is rough. Competition? There's a competition grade? They have their own painting standards? I guess that makes sense, but wow. I wonder how strict it is. Oh, so you can't just like take whatever the heck you painted to competitions. Like you have to make sure you're following competition guidelines. Oh, that does add some difficulty to it. Doesn't take much to get a model looking decent. And when you have a large amount of them on the table, the details become less important. That's true. Yeah, the cool part of like Warhammer is seeing all the models on the table. I feel like I've seen like a couple like shorts already showing like a big like Warhammer 40k like army, and I was like, wow, that's so cool. Like how do you even keep track of the gameplay?
Mechanicus are the war cult of Mars. They are very weird, and I've been over how weird they are plenty before, but they are probably one of the
I
wackiest
didn't know
armies in the
there was a
game,
paint
maybe along
code
with
for
Genestealer
competitions.
cults. The Adeptus Mechanicus have a lot of really weird back and forth styles when it comes to their gameplay. They're mainly a shooting army. I'd say they're about 75% shooting, 25% melee. However, they do have a couple dedicated melee units that can hurt pretty bad, but they're much lower on the tier list compared to the amount of gunfire they can bring. They hit pretty well. They generally hit on 3s, sometimes 4s, depending on if they're using mechs or their own current bionics. But they do definitely have some of the wackier stuff. The entire army has...
Who hits on 1s and 2s? Oh. I don't know if he went over one that already hit on those numbers and I missed it. Oh. There are painting competitions, but most gameplay tournaments have basic requirements of 3 colors, no gray plastic showing, and some kind of basing material. Oh, gotcha. Oh, there's a big painting competition called Golden Demon. Oh, okay. It's a competition called Golden Demon where people spend the better part of a year on one miniature or a set of miniatures. Oh, I guess it makes sense as painting specific competitions as well. Like Gunpla also has like, like a custom competition. Yeah. But okay, at least for the tournaments, like it's like only a few rules.
The 6-up invulnerability save, so occasionally you get some pretty clutch moments when you start taking damage and you roll a couple dice and you get a couple 6s and you can shrug off like full-on missiles and stuff. So that is pretty cool. Like one of their base weapons is a really regular kind of crappy carbine, but if you roll a 6 for it does double damage, which can actually be ludicrously powerful at times. Then you've got the weird robots, the Castellan robots, that they are these giant like World War I mech.
I love robots. I love mechs. They look so cute. I love those. I don't know if I should be calling them cute, but they're kind of cute. Emuri dayon. Am I interrupting? Well, too bad. Did you know that only like 4% of you guys are subscribed? I would appreciate if you guys subscribe because it would bring me great joy and motivation. Yeah, please subscribe. Thank you. Yeah, I like it when they look nice and round. Oh, I like them chunky. Custodes hit on 2s? Oh, 1 is an automist, 2 is Orks. Oh, the Orks hit on 2s too? Custodes hit on 2s and they're pretty much the best shooting. Oh, okay. Amogus bots? No, don't call them Amogus! Don't call them Amogus now! I can't unsee the Amogus! If something hits on 2s, it means anything 2 or higher counts as having hit. Oh, gotcha. Nothing can hit on 1s. Okay. Gotcha.
Dudes that have a refractor field, so if they block off shots with their reflector invulnerable save, it'll launch back damage towards the enemy, which can be kind of crazy. They're very strange. They definitely are quite strange. Much more shooting over melee and definitely fun and has some great looking characters. Belisarius Call might be one of the best models in the entire game. Super cool looking too. A bitch to paint though. Oh my god. And that does
oh my god. Yeah, actually so true. Like look at that. How are you gonna paint that? With a lot of time and patience. Nothing can miss on a 6, nothing can hit on a 1. Gotcha. Oh, that does make sense. Imagine painting that. Yeah. I like how the red's cloak stands out. In contrast to the machinery, it looks really nice.
Cool looking too. A bitch to paint though. Oh my god. And that does lead me
Orks
to the
hit on 5s
collecting of
usually?
the AdMech part itself. They're actually getting a lot more
Takes
newer
a lot to get
updates lately.
Orks to
They're
hit.
actually one of the newest armies as well. They came
Just
out
roll
only a
good.
couple years ago. All their stuff is in plastic and it looks really damn good. I personally think that they have some of the best aesthetics in the entire.
That looks like the airships you see in like, was it Ghibli? Yeah, it looks like stuff you'd see in Ghibli, like in Castle in the Sky and stuff. Oh, なんかジブリでこれっぽいやつあったよね。ジブリの作品で。Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen this in Ghibli. Oh, something similar. Oh, Da Vinci inspired flyers. Yeah. I guess Ghibli took inspiration from Da Vinci too. Yeah. Da Vinci looking out planes. Yeah.
Game.
The
The only
wings.
problem is that painting them
They look like fish.
is going to be a real bitch. I would recommend trying to do some of the simpler stuff, like maybe the Dune Crawler, before you get into things like Call or a Tech Priest Dominus, because wow, is painting that going to be really damn hard. Cost-wise, they are getting a bunch of new units, which is great, but generally when you get new units, they're very expensive, and whenever new stuff comes out, it tends to be a bit expensive. The army isn't a horde, but it's also not an elite army, so they're probably in the mid-ground when it comes to price range. However, I would recommend them to people who like some kind of wacky antics and
Okay, they
some
look really
weird
nice, though.
abilities and weaponry, because AdMech has been getting better and better as time goes on, and they're pretty dang cool to collect. So mid-tier price, maybe a little bit more expensive, but their sculpts look great and they're very new, and I would highly recommend them. Next up, you've got the Adeptus Sororitas, or also known as...
Yeah, here we go. Sisters of Battle. This is definitely an old vid. Yeah, it's from 4 years ago. AdMech used to be the most expensive army for the meta build about a year ago. AdMech is still very expensive. They're extra expensive now. Gotcha. 1,500 euros retail price. Sheesh. Often an airbrush can handle like 80% of your painting needs. AdMech with all their metal on red bits are raising the digital bird at this.
The Sisters of Battle, my second favorite army, though I will be honest, they are really coming up to overtaking the Imperial Guard. I love my Guard, I love my Cadians, I love my Tempesta Scions, but the Sisters of Battle, they're really cool.
Their aesthetic
Not only
is
from
nice.
a lore perspective, they're just insanely religious, zealotous nuns. That already is just really dang cool. As for the tabletop, they're one of the closest range armies in the entire game that isn't a full-on melee army. They're a slow-moving, like advancing gun line army with some actually horrifying melee units and just some like ridiculous close-range firepower. The Sisters are probably one of the top 3 hardest armies to play, I'd say. They've got some really weird antics as well.
like close-range combat.
AdMech, maybe not quite as wacky. This army can be played in almost any way as well. You can do this a full gunline army or a full melee army, or 50-50. Everything is viable. They do require a lot of finesse and manipulation because these are all low toughness sisters that do have good armor, but when you've got a low toughness like they do, and they're not necessarily the most powerful when it comes to the actual punching, they can actually be shot off pretty quickly. So you need to be really smart on how you maneuver them, because you've got a super short range, kind of squishy army at times. That can be a little bit challenging to get through. That being said, people are sleeping on the power of Sisters. Let me be the first one to say it. You are all sleeping on how strong this army is.
I feel like they'd be popular though. Are they like not as much as a popular pick? The Sisters Miracle Dice just got unnerved. Oh, so they're like they're more powerful now? Their faces are so hard to paint. Thank God you can give almost all of them helmets. Yeah? You could give them helmets? Nice. They're a super popular army. People do love Sisters. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Faces are hard to paint, especially the eyes. Yeah.
This army, if played
They're
well
popular-ish
by a
now.
smart person,
Yeah, makes sense.
will crush.
This is from 4 years ago. So like over time, I guess they got more popular.
As for the actual collecting of the models, Sisters are the most recent army, at least as the time of making this video, who have had a complete army overhaul. For a while, there were no plastic sister
they got
models
nerfed
whatsoever,
recently?
but the entire army, besides I think one unit, got a full overhaul of models. Everything is brand spanking new, and they probably have the best looking models in the entire game, in my opinion.
They had a plastic release.
Incredible, that crazy gothic kind of Catholic nun
I love
look.
that aesthetic.
I mean, come on, their tank is a pipe organ.
I love the tank. I love the tank so much. Would I paint it? Probably not. But this looks so hacking sick. Yeah, I think I really like their aesthetic. Yeah, it looks wild. I have the tank. Nice. Oh my gosh. And look, it's the creepy angel babies. They're not even angels, but yeah, the carrier babies. What I forgot what they're called.
Missile launcher. It's a pipe organ missile launcher. Sisters are one of the coolest looking armies in the entire game. They are a bit expensive though.
Yeah, the cherubs.
That's the one downside is that because this entire army is brand new, it is brand new with a brand new price tag. So I personally love them. They might soon become my favorite army. I can't quite tell yet. They look great. They're a little expensive to collect. They have lots of different kinds of abilities, both melee and shooting. No psychic phase, but they do have some shenanigans to stop other people from using the psychic phase. They're pretty cool, but they are really hard to play, and they take a lot of practice. So kind of up to you. I would say not a very good starting army, but they are pretty neat. All right, Grey Knights. I heard you like the psychic phase. If you like the psychic phase, this is the psychic phase for you. Grey Knights are Space Marines X2. They're super mega duper elite Space Marines that are all psychers. They're nuts. Grey Knights are insane. They are very, very elite.
Rip
However,
psychic phase.
You have probably like maybe 40% fewer models than an
Pour
average
one
army
out.
will have. All of their dudes, however, are scary in their own right. They all hit very well on 3s.
That's so
minimum.
sad.
They all have great armor. Since they're all psychers, they're really good at dealing with other psychers. They also have great shooting.
07s in chat for the psychic phase.
And very strong melee. All of your guys have extremely powerful melee weapons. The only downside of Grey Knights is that any anti-psycho shenanigans can really harm them, and you are running an elite army with very few models. When you run very few models, that means every time you're rolling and you roll those ones, it hurts that much more. Grey Knights, though, they have this awesome kind of old school knight round table aesthetic with them all carrying things like halberds and falchions. They've got holy text and they carry books around and flags, but they do get to use every phase as well. Lots of psychic, and then they're shooting in a ton of melee as well. Mainly psychic and melee.
They're nerds.
In terms of buying them, they're not too bad actually. They're probably one of the cheaper armies as well, because when you're running an elite army, not as many.
I really like the banner the guy in the lower right is holding. Yeah. It looks like actual fabric. Holy shit, they painted that well.
Models on the tabletop, so it's a lot easier to fill out your entire army by only purchasing many or fewer boxes.
Good luck painting the banner.
As for the sculpt,
okay, I could not paint that, you know, without like probably like years of like practice. But yeah. Yeah, whoever painted that made it look really good, for sure, for sure.
I don't know exactly how new they are. I wouldn't call them very new. I call them like middle ground when it comes to how old they are. They're not super old, but they're not necessarily super new either. That being said,
hammer.
If they are, say, medium old or whatever, they do look great. I love the way the plastic models look. I think they look fantastic, and I would recommend trying them out if you like a psycho-heavy Space Marine thing. You play Space Marines and you're like,
they're
wow,
super old now?
Grey Knights. No competition. Infantry is for losers. It's big mech boy time. If I'm being honest though, the Imperial Knights, I wouldn't recommend them. I'm just going to come out and say it. I don't think Imperial Knights are a very good army for a new player. They are one of the cheapest armies you can buy.
But look at the mechs.
While each knight in its own right is very expensive, you only need 3 or 4 to fill out an entire game's worth. And compare that to a full army, they're actually not too bad. Like,
they look so cool.
The problem with Knights is that, as cool as they are, they want to use the psychic phase. They have plenty of shooting, though. Plenty of shooting. And they can have some really great melee. But when you're playing Imperial Knights, you're not really playing 40k. A great friend of mine said, if you're playing Imperial Knights, you're playing chess. But you have about 6 queens against a normal enemy chess player. If the enemy chess player is smart, they could easily beat your 6 queens. I'm sure it'll be pretty simple for them to use their full arsenal to beat you. But if the enemy chess player is a noob, for instance, then there's a good chance that they're not going to be able to win, and you'll just kind of...
The noob stomper faction. I see. I don't know how anyone is able to paint so many tiny details with a lot of patience and time. Yeah. For sure, for sure. And some tools. Yeah, I mean, obviously the people that are building the promo picture ones, like they're like pro, you know, the ones that are painting those. So that's why they look so good. Knights are good for a painting project. My Chaos Knight Tyrant is a model. I slapped a ton of other Chaos bits onto it from the War Dogs kit. He's got War Dog heads in his legs. Oh, cool. Yeah, they have the cool factor. Look at that.
Noob stompers.
So
that's
cool.
what Knights are. Knights are generally noob stompers, or more like just a middle tier army. They're not good for new players because they don't really teach you the game, and it's not the way the game
I like
is really,
the colors on
these
ones.
meant to be played, so to speak. I got nothing against Knight players. If you're a Knight player, it's totally fine. If you run a Knight Valiant, you have nothing but my respect. All right, get that Knight Valiant, 2-up armor, 4-up invul, Trader's Pyre. Oh, you can't have both. Just have Trader's Pyre.
He's such
the
a nerd.
coolest weapon in the game. All right, but honestly, just for a new
I am
player,
too.
I would not recommend Knights. They are cool. They're great painting projects. However, if you just want to paint something, definitely pick up a Knight for that. They look great.
So nice.
You're not really playing 40K when you play Imperial Knights. You're playing a kind of a weird hybrid of it. If anything, get a normal army like say Imperial Guard or maybe some Space Marines, and then buy one big Knight and throw it into your army as an ally. That would be the way to do it, I'd say.
I want to try that. Yeah. Knights are one of the cheapest factions to collect, though, if you use magnets to let you swap the weapons. Wait, that's so smart. Oh. Yeah, a lot of you guys are like, yeah, Knights. Okay.
Better
Thanks
as
for
a
watching my
supplementary
stream.
character as opposed to a main army or force. This is also same for Chaos Knights as well. They do look really cool, though. They do look really
I
cool.
like how people painting them, like, they put their own patterns on, like, parts of the,
This is also same for
I guess, like the shoulders and, like, on the knee, you know, they're putting, like, a checkerboard pattern here. It's really cool, yeah.
Chaos Knights as well. They do look really cool, though. They do look really cool. Golden Boys, Golden Boys. Adeptus Custodians are the elite of the elite. This is probably one of the most elite armies you could possibly play. These guys are nuts. They hit
the transfers.
on 2s or higher in shooting and melee.
Wait, what? They hit so... Oh, wow. They hit really easily. Damn.
Melee. They have triple the health of a normal Space
friendly,
Marine.
yeah.
They have a better armor save than a normal Space Marine. They all have invulnerable refractor fields around them, which most armies do not have. They're tougher than Marines. They get to reroll 1s in the shooting and melee phase when a certain captain is near them, which means they're hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. You absolutely murder people in melee. You've got some okay shooting. Your shooting is hit or miss, but your melee is insane, and you use about 20 models. They are literally the definition of Chad Thundercock, okay?
Chad Thundercock. Honestly, Ricky's point about playing with 6 queens applies Custodians way more than Knights. Yeah, I'm like starting to think like, if you're new facing this, like you'd be like, damn, they just keep hitting. What the frick? Yeah. Custodians are OP until one of them dies and half your army is gone. Oh. Is that how it works?
Chad Thundercock, if that was a human being, it would be a custodian, okay? The problem is that you only have 15, 20, 25 models in your entire army. It is absolutely crazy how powerful these guys are, but they do pay the price for it. That being said, when it comes to collecting them, they are one of the cheapest armies you can buy.
Okay, when I hear 20 to 30, I'm like, that's a lot. So like I literally don't know. So I'm guessing the other factions have way more units than 20 to 30. So is 20 to 30 like considered small? Okay, it's considered small. Okay. Like I literally like don't know like what to go off of just because like, you know, I don't know much about Warhammer 40K yet. Okay, so 20 to 30 is small. Gotcha. Okay, so I guess like yeah, if one of them dies then it's like a big nerf. Yeah. It's big damage. You could easily bring over 100 Tyrannid models. Oh, Imperial Guard has at least 100. Damn. I have about 100 models for my Imperial Guard army. Okay. Wow. Gotcha. But they are strong. They're really strong. It's just their numbers are smaller. Yeah, so that's the price that they pay. Cool.
So elite.
I guess it's lore accurate actually because I remember like we were watching lore on it last week about these guys, I think, and they're like few in numbers. They're just individually like very, very strong.
As many things to purchase, you don't need as many models to have on the field. So buying Custodians is much cheaper than your average army. It's an elite army, and also they're much easier to paint in my opinion because they're so big. Because they're like 2 feet taller than a Space Marine.
Yeah, can of gold spray paint.
Canvas for your painting, and they're almost all gold. Gold isn't that hard to paint, I wouldn't say. So they're good for painting.
Okay.
They're not very expensive. I would say they're not bad at beginner army, if I'm being honest.
He's convincing me.
They're pretty cool. They have a nice kind of power fantasy to them. But as an elite army, every one you roll is going to really hurt. So that's something you should be worried about. Or warned about, at least. They are pretty neat, though. I'm not going to touch...
Guys, simply just don't roll ones. Just don't roll a 1. It's that easy. Yeah, you just need a can of gold spray paint. Yeah, this is where the airbrush comes in. Okay. Yeah, honestly, I really like gold too. I like how it looks. Oh, I wish it was that easy. Just simply do not roll a 1. I'm being sarcastic, obviously.
On the Assassins, Sisters of Silence, or Inquisition too much because they're not really an actual army. The Assassins are really damn cool. There's 4 of them, and you can pick one to add to your army as you see fit. They all have different things they do and specialize in: a sniper, a horde clear, a kind of confusion specialist, and an anti-psyker character. Cool, their scopes are really nice, and since they're only single characters, not too expensive, but you really can't make an army out of them. They're more of a supplementary character. The Sisters of Silence just recently got an update to allow you to field them with Custodians, which is awesome and super cool, and is actually kind of a big part of them because the Sisters of Silence are big anti-psyker, but they only have maybe 2 kits, 3 kits in their
they don't have a lot, right? But also this was from 4 years ago. Has that changed? For the Sisters of Silence? My Tyranid standard 1,500 army has about 200 models. Whoa! My main army kills itself on 1. That's crazy. You absolutely cannot roll a 1. Sisters of Silence are still very lean. Not really, no, sadly. Okay. Sadly, didn't change. Oh, rip Sisters of Silence.
Their army, and that's about it. They're not really worth collecting in their own right unless you're already collecting Custodians. And the Inquisition are a whole bunch of just little characters, basically. A whole bunch of named characters with cool abilities, which are neat, but not really something that I would try to get a whole bunch of. Look at all 3 of those things after you're already starting collecting another army, and you're like, hey, I kind of want an assassin. Throw an assassin in there. Unless you're playing Custodians, then check out the Sisters of Silence, because the Custodians' biggest weakness is psychic, and the Sisters do a great job at cutting that down. All right, let's move on to Chaos. So we got the Chaos Demons to start off with. Chaos Demons follow 1 of 4 gods: Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, or Slaanesh Big Titty. With Slaanesh Big Titty, you're going for melee and fast. You are all
with the power of Big Titty. we will zoom and hit hard.
Melee, you've got no shooting, you got good psychic spells, but
Booba
you're
clan.
running in there at Mach 5. Papa Nurgle is slow.
Okay, but like, to be fair, the Sisters of Battle, they got Booba too. Oh, Papa Nurgle!
Oh, but tanky as hell. Tzeentch, a little bit in between, but tons of psychic spells. Khorne, no psychic. Melee hits like a truck.
Live fast, die hard. Well said.
Chaos Demon factions are glass cannons and very heavy into melee. You got some good psychers for about 3 of the 4, because Khorne I don't think has any. So there is still plenty of variety in there, but what you're doing is you got a whole bunch of big glass cannon demons that run up and just break your face. That's Chaos Demons in a nutshell. They all have their various traits. Slaanesh is fast and hits a lot of times. Nurgle is tanky. Tzeentch is psyker. Khorne hits really hard. Pretty simple in that sense. But overall, Chaos Demons, to collect them, they're not something you would really collect by themselves. You would ally them in with things like Chaos Space Marines, which we're going to be talking about in just a moment. But as an army in their own right, don't try to make a demon army.
That
I
kit
wouldn't
looks
say.
crazy.
They'll teach you a ton of the
Whoa, he's got so many crevices. Yeah, shading on this looks so insane. Yeah, what a cutie. Yeah, he's like nice and round. He's hot, yeah. Are you guys into this? Damn, he's thick. I mean, if you like them big and if you like them chunky, right? Yeah, biggest chungus.
Game, and they're a little bit limited because you have to stick with one Chaos faction normally. If you want to ally in multiple things, you're probably going to need some Chaos Space Marines to go along with it. And with that, let's talk about that. Chaos Space Marines, you're kind of getting the butt end of
Chaos Space
Games
Marine.
Workshop. They don't really seem to like you, Chaos, that much. I don't know why. A lot of your models aren't very new, and a lot of them are expensive, and your rules aren't that great. most of the time, with the exception of something that happened in 7th edition with Chaos Demons, apparently. I heard it was a very, very strong codex. Chaos Space Marines are very similar to regular Space Marines, but they're much more focused on melee combats. You still have shooting, and it depends on which faction you're going through as well. But while you do have your shooting units, it is generally more melee-based, I'd say. Demons in their own right, and Chaos in their own right, want to run in there and start breaking.
Oh, I like the colors on these ones, like pink and teal. Pink-esque, I guess more like magenta. Oh, he's also huge, like the size of a softball huge. Oh, damn. That might make it a little bit easier to paint, maybe? I don't know. Aw. We have some great stuff now. Okay. This no longer applies, though. Okay, 10th edition CSM is very strong and very viable now. Okay. Aw. Emperor's Children just got new models. Oh, Emperor's Children are the purple ones. They recently got new figures. Nice. Oh, these guys are Emperor's Children. Okay. I like the color scheme. Yeah, they just had a whole refresh. Nice. Okay.
Face. That's generally their MO.
And also they got the the avatar arrow on their heads.
For Chaos Space
Airbenders.
Marines, it depends on what legion you're joining, but overall there are a ton of different ways for you to go ahead and get about completing your objective. The Death Guard and the Thousand Sons, I believe, are the most fleshed out. They both have their own codexes. They both have their own special units, especially Death Guard. Death Guard is very recent, and both of them allow you to field a Primarch, which might be one of the coolest parts about them. You can run Mortarion or Magnus the Red, both gigantic, beautiful models that are just awesome showpieces to have. They get shot a lot, but once they get into combat, oh man, do they cause problems. As stated before, you should be building what you like, of course. What you enjoy is the most important part of it. But as for Chaos, it's really, you gotta like melee combat, and you gotta like different kinds of allying, probably. I'd say Demons aren't, not Demons, but Chaos in general, isn't a great faction to start off with as a new player, because you need to understand the intricacies of how to do army building and knowing what you're running a little bit more prevalently. And so I'd wait on doing anything Chaos related, at least until they get a solid update.
This guy looks crazy. Oh. Angron and Fulgrim are also playable now. Oh. What most people don't realize is the shape and detail of miniature helps painting. Washes very thin paint, goes to recesses and gives shadows. Oh, and these edges are easier to paint with brush. Okay. Yeah, I guess you wouldn't know until you try it. Oh. Yeah, the chicken of change. Chicken. Kairos Fate Weaver, our two-headed chicken of doom. One head sees the future, the other sees the past. Neither sees the present. Oh, wait, that's really cool. Oh.
Or someone teaches you, or you get a little more into the hobby. With the exception of Death Guard. I think Death Guard is in a good place for a new player, because Death Guard is pretty cool. But besides that, they're a little tough. Okay, let's talk about some Xenos, starting off with the Space Elves, the Eldar. So the Eldar are definitely a more glass cannon-y kind of style group. They are the first Xenos race we're talking about, and there are a couple of versions. There's also the Drukhari and the Harlequins. However, the Eldar, they are strike hard, strike fast, and get out of there immediately. So the thing about Eldars, what would happen is they would fly out of somewhere, immediately gun down with extremely high-powered weaponry, hitting on threes with some kind of BS stratagems, if I'm being honest. And then they can zip back into cover and really annoy you. Honestly, Eldar probably have some of the more powerful shenanigans when it comes to the game.
They're so colorful. They got the whole like rainbow color scheme.
They have lots of weird rules. Their stuff hits extremely hard. But of course, once you fire back at them, if you live, they will crumble under a slight breeze to an extent. If you play Eldar, you won't be making a bunch of friends, if I'm being honest. I'd say Eldar are top 3 most aggravating enemies to fight against. People don't like fighting Eldar a whole lot. Myself included, I find them to be quite aggravating.
But they seem
But if you're that kind of person who likes zip in, zip out, and be all kind of trickery and sneaky, they're definitely the army for you. They're definitely more shooting and psychic based. That's the 2 main things. They've got some good melee, but mainly shooting and psychic based. As for collecting Craft World Eldar.
Yeah, you tell him. Skill issue. Yeah. Skill issue, dayon.
I'd say that they got some good sculpts. Some of their models
keep
look pretty
playing
good.
during
They
your
got some nice
turn.
plastic. A few of it's a little bit older, but you don't need a huge army. So when it comes to the money side of it, not too bad. I'd say the financials for it are pretty dang solid, and I wouldn't call them an expensive army to collect, at least not from my knowledge. The Dark Eldar, or the Drukhari, are like Eldar cranked up to 12.
They look like cactuses. I say that, in an endearing way. Yeah. Oh, cute little cactuses. Cacti. I guess it's not cactuses. It's cacti. I don't know. The Elder got new models recently too. Oh, nice.
They're faster, they can hit harder at some points, and they have really good melee units. Their melee units can actually be really scary, but they are also doubly made of paint.
Okay. The neon-esque blue looks so good against that black. It looks so nice. Yeah, I love how like everything's like outlined.
They're also a lot harder to play.
This is a nice
They're
color
probably top
scheme.
3 hardest armies to play, along with the Sisters of Battle. And that actually goes on to the Harlequins as well. Harlequins are an army that just don't collect Harlequins.
They scare
me.
me.
Being honest, they're not a great choice. They have barely any models, and they're really weird, and they have a lot of shenanigans if you want to pull them off. If you're a new player, I would not recommend Harlequins at all.
They're creepy.
Dark Eldar, and Harlequins, speedy.
I don't like clowns.
Hit like absolute trucks, and not too expensive, I wouldn't say. Drukhari, I think, is a little bit more expensive than the other two, but not too pricey because you don't feel a ton of units in your.
Do not try to paint the checkerboard. It's a form of self-harm. Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, the details on that are crazy. But I don't know how they got it to look so clean. Yeah, Dark Elder players love paint because their models are so pointy they hurt to handle. They keep stabbing themselves when they move the models.
Armies. Moving on, we got Tyrannids,
you gotta wear like
bugs. Yeah,
you gotta wear those like finger covers or whatever that I wear when I like do like needle felting. Yeah, you gotta wear those when you handle them. Oh yeah, true. Decals could help. Yeah, make it look clean.
Bugs. You gotta love those bugs.
There's a bunch
so many
of them.
Bugs. The Tyrannids obviously are a horde army. It should be very obvious. They are also a melee horde army. Whoa, I know, call the presses. You are mainly spending your time in the melee phase as well as some of the psychic phase. You got a lot of good psychers in the Tyrannids army, funny enough. You've got some pretty involved and advanced bugs. And your melee phase is as it seems. You have really gigantic gargantuan creatures that eat everything alive, or you've got 40,000
They're
little
so
boys.
freaky.
Everything alive. You do actually have some somewhat good shooting too with your Exocrine and your Hive Guard. You can put out some pretty decent
bugs
shots.
with big shooters.
They are definitely the kind of army you run if you want big swaths of just these angry little running bug dudes that just swarm on your enemy. It's literally called the Tyrannid Swarm. As for price-wise though, I'd say they're actually very, very expensive to collect. Their sculpts are,
I didn't know.
Some are a little bit older, but not all of them. They're a little bit in between when it comes to the actual date release for their sculpts. I'd say they are a bit older, though they are expensive. They're expensive, and you're running a horde army, so that's definitely one of the top more expensive armies to collect because, come on, tons of bugs,
I guess that makes sense.
Tons of models and older sculpts.
When you need a lot, I guess it makes sense that it like adds up like crazy. Yeah. You can build Tyrannid armies with so many models that it would almost be impossible for certain armies to have enough shots to kill you. You just need a lot. Oh, Tyrannids is probably one of the most terrifying armies out there. I think a bug swarm would scare me the most. Yeah, honestly. You need to buy more bags to carry them. I didn't even think about the transportation aspect. Yeah, alien roaches. It's hard to get rid of them.
Can be a little bit of a challenge. Genestealer cults. You want to play bugs, but you want to play human bugs with scrotum heads. Genestealer cults are a very new addition. Very, very new. And they run in this almost as weird as AdMech style army. They're very fast. They hit really hard, and they like dip underground. They crawl from underground. They hit you
Look at these
with
baldies.
very powerful short-range weaponry and super strong melee attack. And then they kind of run away, and they like zip, hit and run tactics. That's probably the best way to do it. Hit and run tactics. They come out of the ground. They spook you. They do a bunch of damage. They run away. They got some weird psychic spells here and there. They run these like makeshift Mad Max trucks and stuff. They definitely have a unique play style. They deploy strangely. They like to zip around the place kind of strangely, and they definitely are one of the more unique armies there are. Would I recommend collecting them? No. They kind of fulfill a niche, but they're not that like overarchingly special, I'd say.
I mean, if you want like a bald army.
I don't know what the word is exactly, but they are a very specific play style for a very specific player. If you're running Tyrannids, you might consider doing Genestealer cults, but at that point, you already kind of know what you're doing, so I don't think I recommend this to a new player. Genestealer cults and Tyrannids both a little bit rough to recommend to a new person because they are very expensive, both of them. And while the models for Genestealer cults are definitely a lot newer and that's much nicer, they need practice. They are definitely a harder army, and I would recommend waiting on those if you're a new player. Orks!
Orks, let's go! They're also the body horror thing. If you don't like that. Oh, okay. GSC have a lot of skin and detailed guns and also many colors on their models. One of the hardest armies to paint. Damn. Yeah, the orcs are here. The boys. I was very curious about the orcs.
Orks. Orks. Now, orks. I would say orks are great if you like the horde army.
They do look hard to paint. Oh my gosh.
RNG dictate your life. So orks hit on 5s, as I mentioned in my last video. However, if you roll a 6, you get to make
to be
another
fair,
attack
everything looks
with the
hard.
weapon. Everything from the little pistol to the giant rocket launcher.
A noob.
You can have a rocket launcher that fires 3 times, and if you get lucky enough, you can have it fire 5 times. But the main thing that you're probably going to be jumping with orks for is the giant green tide, because their melee ability is pretty humongous. They have very weird gunfire. They got their...
Dude, the yellow. Oh, that looks so cool. Honestly, they look like... they look like construction machines. Like that color scheme. Painting minis is kind of like coloring books, except 3D. Yeah. They're surprisingly simple to paint, honestly. Really. Orcs are less of a coin flip army, intense, but still fun. Honestly, I don't mind coin flip, like, army, though. Like, obviously, like, I guess in a competition setting, it'd be really annoying. But if you're just, like, playing casually, I feel like coin flip can be really fun. Like, I don't mind leaving it up to gacha. Yeah.
Weird weapons and their strange rules, the daka rules to allow them to get all these extra shots, and they can even have some pretty dang good shooting with things like shock attack guns and daka jets and stuff. If orks hit on 5s and shooting, they hit on like 3s in melee. Orks love to beat the hell out of each other, so it's very obvious that once they get into melee, they'll just start pounding on you because they are really good at hitting stuff. In fact, I might be speaking a little bit too hyperbolically when I say R.
Who is the coolest space marine? The salamanders. In my opinion. Daka is a sound effect they use for gunfire. Oh, gotcha. Oh, it's pew pew for orc? Oh.
RNG controls your life with orks. Or RNG controls your shooting, but your melee is actually pretty dang good. They've got a special ability called Here We Go, which allows them to roll their charge dice, which is a very rare thing and extremely powerful buff. Getting into melee has never been easier if you're an orc.
I want to do melee!
As for collecting orks, expensive. Probably the most expensive horde army there is.
Really?
Probably more expensive than Tyrannids or Guard or anything in between. They have sculpts that are sometimes new, sometimes very old.
Oh no!
You have cool new models like
them though.
but then you got a whole bunch of really damn old orc models because orcs have been around forever. Their codex in their own right is pretty neat, and there's some pretty good models in there, but orcs just... They're showing their age, and you need a shitload of them. And they are very expensive for that reason. So they're expensive to collect, and you need a ton to collect a good-sized army. But playing them, if you like melee with some really fun shenanigans and a bit of RNG, I can see why someone would like orcs, because they're orcs. Come on, they're great. Let's talk Necron.
I think maybe I'll try playing them in tabletop sim if I get the chance then. Yeah. This is a hobby that can really run your wallet dry. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Especially with the number you need for your army. Rip my bank account. Yeah, poor hammer indeed. And here we go, Necrons.
So the Necrons, if I had to pick a Xenos army, I'd play Necrons, honestly. Necrons, I mean, they're just so cool. Undead, Egyptian, skeleton robots that carry enslaved gods into battle. How is that the coolest thing ever? So Necrons are fittingly named all about necromancy, but not like the undead homina necromancy, but like necromancy through metal. So the way Necrons are is that they are kind of a slow moving, at least some of their units slow moving, gun line with some mixed in melee units. Not all their army is melee, but their melee units that they have are actually like really scary. But for a while,
I do like their pyramid. Oh. When did you decide to check out Warhammer stuff? I started last week. I decided to check it out because I'm like into gunpla and I like the kits, and I was interested in the Warhammer 40k kits as well. So I was like, yeah, maybe I'll check it out a bit.
Necrons are kind of slow-moving Terminator-style guys. They just blast you away at a distance with some very powerful weaponry. They kind of have Space Marine stat lines, actually. They run about as many models as Space Marines. They got similar stat lines and similar weaponry.
Oh, and Byzantine,
I say that they're actually quite similar to Space Marines in the terms of how they play. But they actually do have a lot of weird shenanigans that make Necrons their own. For instance, the main thing that you might want to pick Necrons for is their reanimation protocols. Special ability that, let's say you got 10 units of your base Necron unit, warriors, for instance. You got 10 Necron warriors, your basic troop choice. Your opponent kills like, let's say 7. Kills 7 of them, you got 3 of them left. Their turn ends, your turn starts. You then roll a dice for every dead model. So 7 models, 7 dice. And for every 5 or higher, you automatically get one of your models to just stand right back up. Your Necrons go like,
that's cool, that's cool.
Your vehicles regenerate health as time goes on. You have special abilities to maybe make your Necrons come back on a 4-up instead of a 5. You can re-roll your 1s.
That is a really cool skill.
It's all about getting your units to come back up and being like, if you're fighting Necrons, you better kill it. Because if you leave it wounded, it's going to repair itself, and that's not a very good thing. That's the idea of Necrons. They got good shooting, they got good melee, and honestly, now is a good time to be a Necron player. They are getting a massive update right now. This is right before 9th when this video is coming out, and they're getting...
Look at the size of that thing! What is that? Yeah, I really like the whole setup here. I like the pyramid, I like the, you know, various size dudes. They're still good, yeah. They just don't die. That's so fun, though. Well, not fun to fight against, but, you know, fun to play, I think. High initial investment to play the game. I would say it's not the most expensive hobby. You pay what you pay on 5 years of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic the Gathering in a year, but after that, you only pay for what you want. So again, just high initial investment. I see. Yeah. The lower in 40k is absolutely insane, and these minis get crazy expensive. Yeah.
Huge new model ranges, a ton of just new units in general, massive updates, rule updates. Necrons are getting big additions, and I think it's going to be super great. Now is a good time to be a Necron player.
The Void Dragon Katana is top 3 model in all of 40k, and the Silent King is another, both on the screen now. Oh, yeah, over here? Yeah.
Stuff might be a little expensive to collect because it is new stuff. That being said, they're not an elite army, but I guess they can be played an elite army if they wanted to, but they don't have a few models, they don't have too many models, they're nice in between, and now is a damn good time for it.
I like how this model shows the dude, like, he's like sucking, I don't know, the blood, the life force out of the poor guy on the ground there. He's sucking him up. Oh, it looks really cool. Yeah, I didn't even notice. Yeah, that dude on the ground, he's just getting wrecked. Yeah, brain juice.
Models, they don't. At least we have the Tau
Empire.
The Tau Empire is.
Here we go. The Gundams. They look so out of place. It's so funny. Like, just all of a sudden, light mode.
For people who want to gun their opponent down with the most sci-fi hardcore Gundam giant mech stuff you can think of. You want to have your entire enemy obliterated off the board through just the unrelenting volley of railgun shots and rail rifles and fusion blasters.
The weathering details look so good.
See missiles, giant homing missiles blot out the sky as it rains down on your army because the Tau player's got 40,000 missile pods.
The weeb faction? Well, I'm a weeb.
He's got flying
Perfect for
drones
me.
to fire laser sights to mark them, to have better accuracy, to block shots, and your big battle suit will be rolling up, and then a drone will come in and block a missile from it. The Tau are definitely more of an Eastern-inspired, definitely a Gundam kind of look to them, and they are just ludicrously powerful in shooting phase, and
they're the only army to regularly use camo. These are parade colors. Oh, I didn't know. Cool, cool. Oh, yeah, cool thing with Tau being so out of place makes him more alien looking in my opinion. Yeah. Oh, Guard and submarines also use camo. Oh. Painting the white is also self-harm. Tan looks just as clean and is 1,000 times easier. Oh, tan sounds good too. Yeah.
Also have tons of special abilities to stop your opponent from getting to you in the charge phase. The Tau has no melee. Their melee is straight garbage. When a Tau infantry start punching, it means they've lost. And you might think to yourself, wow, Berkey, this sounds great and aggravating. Yep, that's about right. The Tau get a lot of shit. Some of it warranted, some of it not so warranted. The models in their own right definitely don't fit very well with 40K. They're much more of a sci-fi Gundam style thing compared to a gothic, grimdark sci-fi fantasy. However, I do think they do look pretty cool in their own right. It's just kind of weird in this universe. But when you've got an entire army whose whole job is to blast you away from incredible ranges across the map, and every time you even try to retaliate, they either gun you down when you try to charge, or they block your shots with drones, it can be pretty aggravating. That being said, there are really cool new ways to play Tau, like close range attacks with Cold Star battle suits and the Farside Enclaves, which, by the way, if you ever use a Cold Star battle suit, or a Cold Star commander, I suppose, or a Yavara, you have my respect. So you do have different options when it comes to Tau instead of just sit back and fire. But you definitely don't got much melee. You definitely don't got much melee.
Crude are the melee specialists, and they're silly last update. Oh, they upgraded it? They're fish people, so they're sushi, kind of. I love fish. I love sushi. Oh. Crazy that 3 new armies have come out since this video. Yeah. The Tau do have some melee now and no longer are so restrictive on your enemies. Okay, that's nice. Oh. Everyone smack talks the Tau, but aside from the brainwashing they do to induct other races into their ranks, they're probably the closest to a good guy in 40K. Oh. To me, they look more Star Wars than Gundams.
Suck at melee. But if you just want to gun people down and the only phase you care about is the shooting phase, you don't care about psyche, you don't care about melee, you just want to blast people, Tau is definitely for you. As it comes for collecting them, their scopes are pretty good. They're not entirely super new, but they do look great. They have a whole bunch of different kinds of mechs, big and small. They got drones, big and small. They got infantry units and everything. They do look solid, high-tech, and their scopes do look nice. They're also, I'd say, not too expensive. You don't need a ton of them, and the battle suits themselves are expensive for each box, but you only need so many of them because they are very expensive when it comes to the points cost in the game. So Tau are on the middle level of the expensive tier. Whew, that was a lot of talking right there. That covers it though. That is every army in 40K for you trying to figure out which army you want to play. I will reiterate, Space Marines, they are the best. I know it kind of sucks for some of us, but trust me, they are the best. I would highly recommend
like mainstream, it seems.
Get a box of Intercessors.
Space Marines.
Check out the rules. Paint them up maybe. 9th edition is coming very, very soon. It looks extremely promising. And I think now is probably the best.
9th edition? And now we're on the 10th. Oh. Yeah. Warhammer is something like you don't hear about in Japan at all. Yeah. So, being the weeb I am also very new to all this.
Time to be jumping into this hobby. I want more people to be a part of this
Space
community,
Dwarves.
to be a part of this fandom. I think it is exciting. I think it has a little something for everyone, and I don't want anyone at all to not feel welcomed, not on any basis, not on basis of age.
I wanna learn about the Space Dwarves, to be honest. I think they're really cute. I wonder if there's a video on them. Yeah. We're 10th and next year will be the 11th. Damn. We're zooming. So much has changed since this video already. Emuri dayon! Did you know that the clips here are all taken from my streams? So if you'd like to catch me real time or see everything, be sure to subscribe to my main channel! Please and thank you! Now sit back and enjoy the rest of the video! There's a Tokyo Warhammer store with a cafe? 東京にもあるみたい. Oh, okay. Next time I need to go check those out. Next time I'm there. I had no idea. I thought there was nothing Warhammer in Japan.
Sex, gender, race, I don't give a shit, okay? I don't care who you are. I want you to at least give it a shot and be a part of this group with me because I would always love new people. And honestly, there's no reason why you shouldn't have a good time along with the rest of us. So, yeah. Thank you so much for watching this video.
That was
everybody.
the video.
It was a pleasure having
that was
you
really
here.
fun.
Check out this plate in the description, please. They are the wonderful sponsor for today's video, and they were actually quite wonderful to work with as well. And plus, with so much Warhammer stuff, I'm sure you can find something that you can definitely decorate your wall with for a decent price as well. As for me, my name has been Bricky. I have a Patreon if you'd like to support me. As you can see, all the names flying up on the screen right now. These are all the people on the $10 or up tier who have decided to help support me on my videos. You are all absolutely wonderful. And I want to give a special shout out to my top 3 patrons currently, which are Big Papa Nergs, which is so
Big
fitting
Papa
today,
Nergs.
Drunken Legends, the absolute crazy Texas man, and of course Krieg the Psycho, which is a wonderful Borderlands reference. The 3 of you, you are on the top tier for Patreon, and I really do appreciate it. I wouldn't be able to make this many videos without you guys, and it is wonderful having you here. And I see you on the Twitch stream all the time, so I know you guys. I know you around. It's good. I'll see you soon. Besides that, if you want to check out my Twitch stream, I stream multiple times a week. It is in the description. I would love to have you there. We can talk a little bit Warhammer or anything in between. Just play some games. And finally, if you're interested in copying some merchandise like the one I'm wearing, or maybe just get a little bit of bee stickers up in your world.
Yeah, new video tomorrow, right? He's dropping
all right.
one.
I don't know what video I'm making next. It might
We
be
should
a
watch it
one,
next
but
week.
I might hop on the more 9th edition stuff when 9th edition comes out. Perhaps I'll even make a video on how to play it. But until then, thank you so much for watching. My name's been Bricky, and the Emperor protects. Bye-bye.
The lore is cool too, but I kind of really enjoyed learning about the little kits more, the little miniatures. But I think it's because I've seen the lore videos already that it made it, I guess, easier to follow. Yeah. Hey, it's about time for update though. It's been 4 years, right? I want to learn about the dwarves.